It's not hyperbole to say that Superman is one of the most influential, profitable characters ever created in any medium. Yes, Superman is that influential and that profitable. And as we all know, in the United States of America, success is rewarded, right? Well, join me in shock and disgust whenever I tell you Siegel and Shuster died virtually penniless, having been tossed away by DC Comics, their names nearly erased from history. What is the truth of the creators' tragic outcomes? Is there any justice for the poor and working class? Or are Siegel and Shuster's fates simply the American way?
I was pretty surprised. I mean, it's Jason Aaron, so I shouldn't be that surprised, but I don't even know if he's ever gone this hard on like class analysis before, the way that he does with Krypton.
And this is the one that worried me the most before I read it, like, because all the descriptions of it were so vague, and it was like talking about an angrier Superman and stuff like that.
And that's why I kept telling people it's Jason Aaron, though. If it was anybody else, I would be like, yeah, I'm worried about it being edgelord shit. But it's Jason Aaron.
I trusted Jason Aaron.
Edgelord dude, he does edgy, like, with a point, so more like a blade, not a pizza cutter.
So I trusted Jason Aaron, but I was like, absolute Batman and absolute Wonder Woman, their descriptions before I read them, I was like, yeah, okay, that's a cool take. But the descriptions of absolute Superman didn't give anything away that's actually in the issue.
This is the best version of Krypton I've ever heard of, and I hope that I don't know, we see more of it somewhere. But like, as far as best as in like it's substantive and relates to us without being just too on the nose. There's two classes. There's the folks that wear the sun crest, and they're the science people, the high-minded fucking smarty pantses that figure all the stuff out and everything. And then there's the workers. They have that other symbol.
There's more than two. There's like they show at least three classes in here, I think.
Sure, but the main one's what we deal with, right? Or them, and then the one that other symbol. Ugh, that one, yuck.
The symbol of the worker. So like all the members of the working class on Krypton wear that symbol on their chest by law.
Sure.
So they're all like janitors and mechanics, and
they're doing the dirty jobs.
Yeah.
The non smart people. Well, I mean, except for the fact that you end up seeing kind of how Krypton came to end because of essentially fucking class elitism. They didn't want to listen to and that's always been kind of part of the lore, or not always, but it's at some point was introduced, that the idea that they're like, it's in the Man of Steel movie that Jor-El was trying to tell them that the Krypton's gonna fucking die. It's dying. It's gonna blow up, basically. And they're like, "No, get the fuck out of here, you crazy bastard!" And then it blows up.
And thematically, what impressed me about this issue was this is thematically very much a return to Superman's roots.
Yeah.
Back when he fought like corrupt landlords and abusive husbands.
About that shit.
Yeah, someone made a pretty good video about that.
Superman's heroic priorities in those initial comics in the late 1930s was an expression of Siegel and Shuster's life experiences till that point. His very first story in Action Comics was titled Superman, Champion of the Oppressed, with an exclamation point declaring his arrival. And the vast majority of these earliest stories were centered around working class and poor people, common scenarios that still exist today. Other early titles clearly stated the purpose for Superman's heroism, such as Superman in the Slums, in which he learns of juveniles in trouble for petty crimes that they committed at the command of a slumlord. Superman set his sights on the slumlord who's been exploiting the kids, keeping in mind that Superman's power was but a fraction of what we know it to be today. He beat the slumlord into submission and ordered him out of town. Then, Superman swoops in to rescue the boys themselves just as the cops were hauling them to jail. In another encounter with the flawed justice system, Superman intentionally goes to prison to investigate shocking abuse being perpetrated by the prison superintendent. Prisoners are whipped and beaten, all while breaking rocks in the hot sun. Superman fought the law, and Superman won. Beating the hell out of wife abusers, ending the machinations of con artists, trouncing construction scammers, breaking up racketeering rings, and weeding out corruption from a trade union. These were the early priorities for Superman, and therefore important themes to Siegel and Shuster themselves. The original run of Superman certainly featured action and adventure, but the core of many stories were the victims of corrupt systems and exploitative hierarchies.
You know, it's good, and the art's excellent too. I don't know that I've ever read anything with Sandoval as the artist, but it's pretty good.
The art gives this very good pulp sci-fi vibe.
Yeah.
That really fits the tone of the book, just from what I'm seeing.
So what's happening here is that Jor-El, there's like a third symbol right there. The middle manager has an M on his chest.
For management.
Yeah. But Jor-El either used to be a part of the Science Cast.
He did. Like him and Laura both were essentially cast down by being heretics to science whenever
like speaking truth to power. Yeah. Yep. Like Laura was kicked out of the academy at 9 because she wrote something when she was 9 years old.
Wow.
But anyway, this is Jor-El discovering that there's a problem and saying we got to shut this down for the safety of the workers, and the middle manager here comes along and is like, what do you think you're doing? And overrules him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, imagine that. He doesn't give a shit about the safety of the workers. Piss in the Coke bottle, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, basically.
I mean, I did not expect the Superman comic to be this overtly political. That's what surprised me about it. Like Absolute Batman has some class overtones to it.
Oh, sure.
For sure. And Absolute Wonder Woman is kind of leaning into feminism a little bit, but this thing, Absolute Superman, is basically like another take on Red Sun almost, at least
wow,
at least in the backstory, because it's labor's, I'll just say it, its socialist sympathies are like very obvious.
And honestly, like I'm actually currently reading through Jason Aaron's Wolverine run, which was kind of his first, mainstream stuff that he was doing for a while. And like you see this stuff there too. Like it's kind of crazy reading like this being his most recent stuff, and then his Wolverine run. It's just like there's some. I don't know. I might go back and start reading like all of his shit now. He's really kind of a workhorse, and I think obviously he's been respected for a long time now, but like, I don't know if he's gotten the respect he really deserves yet.
This was my first story. I think this is the first story I can remember reading by him, I think.
Well, I mean, he's the one who gave us, Jane Foster as Thor. He took Thor's.
Right. Like I haven't read any of those things. I just looked up what his CV was basically. And I was like, oh, he did all this. Okay.
And then, then things go badly almost instantly, of course, because of course they do. And, middle manager guy gets fucked pretty quick. Jor-El tries to save him. Doesn't work so well. What is this green shit coming up out of there? That's not good.
Kryptonite.
So that's kind of brilliant too, to like write they haven't specifically said it, but it does seem like based on appearances that kryptonite is going to be whatever the substance is in context of the destruction of Krypton is, what it is. So that's kind of interesting. And then,
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that all of this is backstory. We haven't even met current day Superman.
We haven't met
yet
Superman.
in
We
this.
haven't met Kal-El yet.
Yeah.
All of Krypton was doomed. Yeah. And so, but the thing that his mother was cast out for when she was 9, by the way, was writing about how they needed to do space exploration. Because eventually, it's just going to make sense. You need to explore more. We can't just keep ourselves isolated on this planet. We have the technology. We have to seek out more understanding, more, and stuff like that. And they're like, "Ah, you crazy old broad, 9-year-old broad, get out of here!"
Right.
And of course, yeah, they probably should have. So then you go to Brazil.
Oh.
Right. Now
Interesting.
let's talk about the choice of Brazil for a minute.
Right.
So in the real world, in current fucking day, yes, Brazil is a hotbed of Marxist agitation.
Yeah,
it's true.
The labor movement in Brazil is probably the most openly communist movement in the world right now. So the choice to set this story, to introduce us to Superman in this context, was really bold, and it's firing shots across the bow of
a lot of
yeah.
So I mean, it's notable, and of course we're going to talk about the Ultimates here in a minute too, but like it's kind of, I don't know, it's something that whenever you have both the big two are doing their ultimate things again, you know what I mean, where it's like,
Yeah.
we're going to do another try at this secondary kind of alternate canon that's ground floor kind of thing for people that's going to be more relatable to current fucking days and stuff. And both of them seem to be deciding to lean heavily into class analysis and inequity and like the kind of the harms of colonialism and capitalism and stuff like that.
At the beginning, Superman was very much a socialist superhero. He fought for the unemployed, the oppressed, he beat up wife beaters. It's about a man driven by a burning sense of injustice. There are no monsters or robots, he fights against corrupt council officials. He was conceived as a Depression-era superhero who dealt with the problems of ordinary people.
Which, if you touch on something Bob mentioned earlier, that's the if we're getting back to basics in comic books, that's the basis of comic books, right?
Absolutely.
That is Siegel and Schuster.
Yep.
It's foundational.
Yep. And if you aren't aware of that, I do actually have a Superman video that you should watch because it's a good one. It's called I don't remember what it's called, but look for it. It's got Superman. It's about the creators, and yeah, Superman saves his working class, I think is what the thumbnail says.
The canonical story of Superman is one that's well known and beloved by just countless people. But the real life story of his creators, their hardships, their hard work, and their near erasure from history is one that I think we as a society should keep in mind. These early stories were rooted in doing the right thing for the common citizen, for the working class, not just fighting evil space gods and billionaires in batsuits. As terrific as those fantastical stories are, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love when Superman's fighting Darkseid and stuff, that's great. I think that he has strayed from his roots a little bit. Grant Morrison applied the original socialist angle to Superman during their run, bringing the hero back down to the streets, to a less godlike status. I don't believe that the cosmic epic battles need to be done away with entirely. I enjoy those too. I do think I'd be more drawn to Superman if they put more effort into reflecting those early humanist adventures, fighting corrupt systems and exploitative authoritarians. And I kind of suspect that it would resonate with a lot of people these days, as we increasingly see our power drained from us as if we're buried in kryptonite.
It also tells the heartbreaking story of how Warner Brothers and DC rat-fucked those gentlemen.
They got, yeah, big time. And honestly, the comics industry hasn't gotten really much better since then. So.
No.
The only thing that's changed is that nobody has created something as fucking, ubiquitous as Superman.
Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, first-generation working-class Americans, followed the instruction manual for the American dream to the letter. Hard work, perseverance, and loyalty to the industry that they chose and loved. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, or in this case, their iconic red booties. They never wavered or faltered in their goal, and they never expected a handout. But they deserved a much greater profit from their labor, considering their work was the foundation for DC Comics and everything to come after.
So the peacemakers, this is kind of interesting use of this concept of the peacemaker, are just they're the corporate cops in this.
Right.
In this universe.
Yep.
So Lazarus Corp, that's kind of fun. Kind of fun. It just like it's fucked up. They got them working in shitty conditions. They're working in these diamond mines and stuff, and yet various a couple times before this example, where there's been some really dangerous stuff going on that probably people should have died any other time would have died in the conditions of these mines and stuff like that. But suddenly, a few examples now where something has happened that suddenly like all of the mining is done for them. Nobody's taking credit for it. It's done for them. They don't have to enter into the dangerous parts of the mine. They don't have to do the dangerous work or whatever because it's all done. They can just kind of take their fucking rocks and go turn them in and get paid. And
as though someone is working according to their ability.
Yeah, and
needs.
providing to others according to their need. Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, the asbestos is the problem in this case. Yeah. So like diamonds, the ore has already been mined and crushed. What? Who could do such a thing? Who could do this without dying from the asbestos in the air? Actually, they removed the asbestos from the air.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. But no, this is where I started to get really fucking excited reading this. I was like, no way! Like this is
an so
excellent
cool
fucking use of Superman.
Yeah,
this is so fucking cool.
Yeah, because this is like I've said many times talking about Superman that with his power set, he could single-handedly reverse climate change, for instance. Right. And the fact that he doesn't do stuff like that in the mainstream DC universe, kind of, as much as I love Superman, has kind of always bugged me.
Yeah,
and
that does kind of bring up the topic of his power set, which does seem very kind of different here. At least starting out, and there's much more. There's a cost to his powers, at least so far.
Oh, interesting.
You go up there, they're like, "Hey, we got our shit done." And previous night, you had that guy that was just telling everybody, "No, we don't talk about it. Like, we're just done. This is it. That's it." He's talking to this fucking guy. Who's this guy? It looks kind of sus to me. Not Superman. So he does have X-ray vision. There's that. He's angry, but he's not angry in the way that, like, I think the promos
marketing
were kind of making people feel like he might be. Along with the imagery, it did kind of look like, oh no, he's an edgelord. This is just more Snyder shit, as in Zack Snyder, not Scott Snyder.
Right.
But no, this is if he's angry, it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
And he starts to talk about.
He's angry at injustice.
He says, "I've seen the wonders of your world." And he says, and he's like, "What? I can't hear you. I've seen the wonders of your world, and I've seen lots of places like this, industries that run on suffering. How do you know which is the truth?" Notice his eyes shifted from blue to red there.
Red, yeah.
When you have what is worth fighting for, that is the truth. And what if you have nothing? I have to go. More work to do, but thank you. So he's gone. And then now you got the peacemakers kicking this dude's ass. Like, how the fuck did you get all this work done? And they go and find Clark, who seems to be just kind of holed up charging here. So apparently he has to do this.
Oh, fuck.
This is his Fortress of Solitude.
It's a fucking box.
For what it's worth.
Right. And this is where we learn that this Superman apparently has some kind of AI in his suit that talks to him.
Oh.
Which, I mean,
That's
I guess
the words in the red box were.
The AI in the Fortress of Solitude, there's a computer in there. There's what is it? What's the thing's name?
Kellex,
yeah.
I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, but they find him and they want to have some words. Uh-oh. I was taking a nap, bro. I hate when that happens. And yeah, he fucks him up.
He fucks
up pretty good.
And we don't even know if he is Clark Kent in this reality yet.
Right. He is Kal-El, though.
Well, the only hint that we have toward anything like that is that it shows later on in the issue at the end, there's like kind of does a couple of passes over more familiar locales, and one of them seems to be the Kent farm, which is just abandoned and there's nothing there.
Yeah. And is owned by the Lazarus Corporation, which is who these miners work for.
Right.
Ooh-wee, dude's looking good. Look at that.
Ooh, it's fine, Superman.
So he kind of seems to be like constantly bursting at the seams with his power in a way, like once he's charged up, but then he depletes it pretty fast. So I mean, I'm guessing maybe part of this is going to be over time. He's going to have to learn to not just fucking use all his powers in a short amount of time.
Right.
But that's what he tends to do so far, at least. And in fact, he does so like in such a way that it's kind of dangerous for everybody. Oh, they got him. Fucking smoking his ass. Smoking him good. And so Lazarus Corp here is ready to fucking capture this dude. They've known about him for a while. They're talking about his suit, and like apparently it's got some kind of AI that he's talking to. It seems to be actually shifting its form at all times, and it makes it impossible to figure out what his face looks like in their monitors. You got this agent here. She's like, I can't even fucking figure out what this guy looks like. What's the deal there? He's probably just a nobody. Some
Probably
agent.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice way to set up the secret identity thing.
And then he just fucking lets go, man. I can't tell if he killed these people or not. Could you tell?
I don't think he did. I mean, in comics, if you don't see someone die, does it really count?
Look at him. He's just fucking humming with energy now. He's like, soul is what he calls the AI. Okay. Yeah, he wiped out those drones for sure. He took those out. And he's just kind of can't do anymore. Basically, his options are to continue powering up and just destroying shit and killing people, or just to kind of like chill the fuck out and stand down. But he does kind of cause the tanks and shit to lift up momentarily. Lazarus means peace. How's my driving? Nice. I didn't notice that the first time. And then he's about to, I don't know, he's going to start fighting, or he's going to get the fuck out of there. But Diane.
Uh-oh.
What? Agent Lane got him in custody.
Now this surely must be a gender-swapped General Sam Lane, right?
I don't think so. And don't call me Shirley. But yeah, I'm guessing that's it's going to be Lois, which is an interesting.
It could be Lucy Lane.
Could be.
Sister, yeah.
No, I think that they establish it's later on. It is Lois Lane.
It is Lois.
And just something about this delivery here, kind of just it smacks of Lois Lane.
It smacks of Lois Lane, yeah.
Yeah. And there you go. So the last dust of Krypton. Ooh. The Nevada desert, and you got some dude just kind of watching the whole thing.
Oh, and he has cities in bottles.
Yeah.
Who could this
and
be?
He's got like a brain that's visible and stuff.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Okay, yeah.
Oh no!
And three purple lights. Doesn't take a brainiac to figure it out.
Central Kansas. Oh,
that farm is fuckled.
Yeah, this is the Kent farm.
Yeah.
So if he did ever have any contact, so the thing that's really, there's still one more surprise. I forgot about this. So we take for granted certain things about Superman's origin, that he was sent here as a baby, right?
And this he wasn't?
Not so much.
No, he
Oh.
was not.
There comes Jor-El. He comes back and he's like, oh my God, shit was really a rough day at work. Where's the kiddo? Where is he? Here he is.
Oh my God.
He's got Crypto the Super Dog.
And he's got memories of living on Krypton, which is kind of like, I don't know.
Oh,
seems
that's
like that
such
might
a
be
twist.
pretty big relevant change.
Oh, that's
I think-
cool.
This could be a rumor, but I'm pretty sure I read a spoiler at some point in some of the writers or artists interviews that in Absolute Superman, he's going to have been fully adult before he came to Earth.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
So he's going to have memories like
I mean,
distinct.
that does make a lot of
core
sense because
memories.
he's still talking to that one guy and earlier in the issue as if he's still somewhat new.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think that's probably going to bear out. I'll think about it.
So he's going to
Wow.
bring with him his class consciousness, like fully formed
Right.
from,
Oh, shit.
yeah.
From Kryptonian fuckery.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just hope he brought Crypto the super dog with him.
Me too. I love Crypto.
We'll get through it together.
Aw.
Famous
They will,
last
in
word.
fact, not get through it together.
Spoiler. Yeah.
Despite box office bombs, legendarily awful video games, The Last Son of Krypton endures. DC and Warner Brothers will always be able to fall back on Superman, no matter how many times they artistically and financially step on a rake. Not because those companies are worthy of endless second chances, but because Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created a character that endures despite their corporate bungling. DC and Warner Brothers aren't too big to fail, but Superman will always return from the dead, carrying their corporate husks along with him. This issue of creators not being paid commensurate to the success of their creations is one that extends outside the comic book industry and outside art. It affects all of us. As the cost of living continues to skyrocket, as executive payouts reach just farcical numbers, the common person, the working class, those of us who create the value of these products, we're left behind. There is no Superman who's going to save us from exploitation and alienation, from, the value of our labor. But if we can learn to value our own labor and see it not as, small expendable cogs in a giant machine, but as necessary components for the machine to exist in the first place, which it is, maybe, just maybe, we can save ourselves and one another.
As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all. Till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. The working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow their rules. Working class